Well, hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back. I've got an interesting video for you today. As you can see, I've got a couple of these speed squares, and I use these things all the time. So the other day I was at Home Depot picking up some supplies, and I found something that I didn't even know existed. So let me go ahead and show you this new thing that I picked up. This is called a Milwaukee trim square. I didn't even know that these existed. So I picked this up and I'm very excited about it. Now, if you've ever carried a speed square in your pouch, I'm sure that you're familiar with the fact that these things fall out all the time. This one is much smaller. In fact, they say that it's 35% more compact than the previous version of speed squares. Now, one thing that I'll note right off the bat is this new trim square does not have common rafters or your hip and valley rafters. So you don't have that information on this new one. You do have the protractor. You do have the area where you can scribe. If you look at the square up here on the top, you'll see that each one of these notches is a 1/4 inch apart from the other. But you can see the same thing is on the bottom, but they don't correspond with each other. So what this does is this gives us the ability to have 1/8 inch increments as far as how we're going to scribe our piece of wood. So if you wanted 1.5 inches, you can see there's a mark right there. So you would choose that one. If you wanted 1.75 inches, you could choose this one. And this measurement, like a standard 2x4, 3.5 inches, goes right there. So very cool. If you needed, maybe you needed to cut down off of a 2x6 and make it a 2x4, there's a scribe mark right there for you. So using this to scribe the wood is extremely easy as long as you have a straight edge here. So you'll rest the square up against the piece of wood. Don't let it come up away from it. And let's say we wanted to scribe 1.5 inches, then what you would do is you would put your pencil in that notch and just drag the square down the piece of wood, and now you can see that we have 1.5 inches mark. Now if you wanted to go 1/8 less, you could do that with going 1/8 less. You see, it makes a nice clean mark. You have 1/8 inch increments. Another thing that's really nice about these squares is, let's say, just for the sake of this video, that the end of the wood is all boogered up and I got a rough end and I want a nice clean edge there. You can rest this against the wood, drag your pencil, and cut a nice clean line. Maybe you're going to make a picture frame and you want nice 45-degree angles, so you would come right up to that edge right there, right like that, and drag a 45-degree mark. Then you could put a square together with 45s. Another option that's very cool is this protractor here on the bottom. So what you'll do, let's say for example you want a 35-degree angle. So this being the pivot point, you would bring this 35 up until it's flush with the side of the wood here, just like that, and then draw your line here. From the pivot point, this is a 35-degree angle. This is a 45-degree angle. So very cool. Another thing I like to do with this is, let's say I got to get down and cut a piece of wood and I don't want to forget the measurement. So let's say I need 44 7/8, right? 44 7/8 of an inch, right? So you can write down whatever you need to write down on your square and then wipe it off when you're done. Go back up. Oh, I need one 67 3/4. 67 3/4. And then you have your measurement that you can take down with you, and you're not going to forget what that measurement is. Also, if you notice right here, you have 3/8, and then right here you have 1/4 inch. So if you're on the end of a piece of wood, say something like this, you can put the square just like that, give yourself a quick line, And that line right there is 1/4 of an inch from the edge of the wood to there. Say you want 3/8 of an inch, you just flip it around to the bigger side, give yourself another line. So you have this one is 1/4 and this one is 3/8. Another thing that's cool about these squares is the width of the square. So if you look at this measurement right here, this is 3/4 of an inch. So let's say, for example, you know that you needed 3/4 of an inch real quick. You just line that up flush with whatever you're going to do. Give yourself a little mark, and this is 3/4 of an inch. If you were to take a tape measure and measure from here to here, you're going to have that measurement. So this is very cool. Not only can it be used as a scribe, but you can also use it to assist with getting a proper cut. So you would just take your saw right up to your square and get it right on that 0. And then as long as you hold this square nice and tight against your wood, you can make a nice, beautiful cut right on the line. So there we have a nice clean cut. And then of course, this works really good on angles. So if you want to follow that angle, like in our case right here, we have a 45. So we're going to just set our blade right there where it's touching that line. And then of course, we're going to use our square as that guide. So this pretty much guarantees that your cut is right on the money. This piece of wood has a little bit of a burr on the end of it here. So I would want to clean that up. There's a staple right there, so I'm going to avoid that. But you can make a line there. You can do another one right here. And then of course you can cut that out. And now you have a nice straight edge on the corner of this piece of wood. Just set the speed square down, get your saw ready, and line the 0 up. I usually tilt my saw back and forth like this until I get the line lined up where I need it to be. Then I lock that square into place with my fingers, and this allows me to get a very straight cut very easily. So on this second cut, I have something like this that I need to finish that cut. I would bring that piece of wood back, set the square here one more time, get this thing lined up right there where I need to be on my shoe, get my blade looking at it and say, okay, that looks good. So now you can see that you have a very nice straight cut, whereas before we had like little burrs and stuff on that cut. So it works very good for things like that. We have a wall here, and let's say for example we want to hang a picture frame or something and we don't have our level with us. If you have your speed square, or in our case a trim square, and a piece of string or a plumb bob, a piece of string with the weight on it, you can find level. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll lay the string over the pivot point of your square, okay, and then you'll put your square about the height of whatever you want to hang, picture or whatever. Okay, now from here the string is coming in contact with the protractor. So what we want to do is we want to get it right to 45 degrees. Where the string intersects with 45 degrees. Make sure that nothing is coming in contact with the string or the plumb bob. And then once you get those lined up, if you scribe a line with your pencil, I'm going to do it very lightly here, you'll see that there's a line left behind. This line is level. So now you see we have a line. Let's go ahead and check it to see if it's level. We're going to check this one right here. So I'm going to line that bad boy up right there with it. And what do you know? We are right on the money. That line is perfectly level. The only thing that I wish they did is I wish that the edges here were a little bit rounded because I'm noticing that the shoe of my saw, where it comes into contact with the square, it's kind of slipping a little bit. But in time, the more I use it, the more this edge will naturally get worn down and it'll be less sharp. So folks, I want to say thank you for joining me today on this video of this brand new Milwaukee trim square. I like it. I think it's cool. I hope you got some good useful information out of this video. Please feel free to leave your comments down below. Like this video, share this video, and until next time, I hope you have a beautiful day. We'll see you then. Bye for now.